When I think of the three UU congregations in New Orleans, two sets of pictures come to mind. One is Katrina's devastation, the lost homes and businesses, a UU church building that couldn't be saved, and two others that needed hundreds of thousands of dollars in repairs. And then I think of the people, tenacious, resilient, compassionate, justice-loving people who are not only rebuilding their churches, they're helping to rebuild New Orleans.
There were homes everywhere. You see empty spaces. Straight ahead between these two houses is the levee wall. That is the 17th Street Canal that broke. The metal reinforcement behind the concrete and into the ground only went down 17 feet. The canal is 18 feet deep, and that's why a major part of the city of New Orleans flooded, is because of this levee break.
Well, we had 8 foot of water in this area, and my home was just 3 blocks away from here, so it had 8 foot of water as well. 20 members of our congregation lost their homes. The church itself was a disaster.
Now, New Orleans was 80% underwater. So this church had an average of about 3.5 feet of water. And here in the sanctuary where we sit now, the pews were floating.
Well, first off, the roof came partially off, and it's a metal roof, and some water came in and messed up the drywall and so forth.
Even as devastated as we were like the comfortably devastated. There were people horrifically devastated who were, left to die in the flood. And I think that we carried their spirits with us too. And that was a motivator for not just rebuilding our own place, but recognizing that everybody in this community was devastated and that we have a real calling to minister to those who are the most horrifically devastated.
We're pretty fortunate. Look, we do have a building, we have a church we're building, we have a lot of support, but there's a lot of people in the city that really don't have the resources, don't have the help. So we feel we really need to reach out. And the stronger we get, the more we can help others.
Post-Katrina, the justice needs have just skyrocketed. People losing their homes, people's land being taken from them, workers being brought in an underhanded fashion so that they could be underpaid or not paid.
The Unitarians in the area have been especially active in fighting for worker justice. We engage all 3 congregations, and both UU ministers in New Orleans are active members of our committee.
Sometimes it takes seeing the worst to bring out the best. And I think that's where we are. We have seen the worst, and an unimaginable worst, really. And that has led us to say, what can we do?
By pulling together and cooperating, that allows us a much richer experience, a much richer opportunity to be of service for the community. I think you may have seen the Center for Ethical Living. Those things could not have happened without 3 churches pulling together.
Quo Vadis, the director, came up with this brilliant curriculum, that universities are now using it. They're coming in here and they're getting credit for that curriculum of community service, and it's like, wow.
There are people still coming to be a part of this rebuilding and recovery. And they are coming with as much dedication now as they came with during the height of the crisis. I remain inspired by that kind of dedication and energy.
When we collect, take collections up, once a month we take it for whatever program we want to. And the one that I'm close with is The Porch, which was a community center that was developed by artists.
This is the Mighty Rock Indian Queen for our little tribe for The Porch.
Isn't that just a gorgeous handiwork?
Kids, this is a soup that the kids made at summer camp.
It's a really unique culture. You should be proud of that. And also gives them a sense of voice. You know, their story is just as important as everybody else's.
Statistics go on 40% illiteracy rate. And so there's a lot of young people who are being pushed out of school, right? Winding up in jails that are resource deprived and coming back to New Orleans that's no more resource rich. So those are our students. And then we also work with a group of neighborhood youth from the lower 9th Ward, who for the most part are in other schools, but come by in the afternoons and on the weekends as part of our after school program. And so they get paid $50 a week to run our market, to grow, to learn. The sheetrock on the ceiling of the classroom was donated by and installed by Unitarian Universalist volunteers from the Center for Ethical Living. And so that relationship from the very beginning of the school, when it was a gutted building, provided a whole substantial amount of volunteer labor and support.
But it's the mutual support for all the work that has to be done that makes these three churches very wonderful communities to be a part of.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Know about when I call your name. Know about when I call your name. Oh, know about when I call your name.
We have long-term post-Katrina partners who've been with us, you know, walking with us on this incredibly long journey. But it is also true that there's people who don't remember what happened in terms of how the relief money was divided. So there's people who are surprised that we don't have electricity in our sanctuary. There's people who want to know, well, what have we been doing if we're not rebuilt? And so they don't understand that First Church alone had over $1 million worth of damage, and yet there was only $1 million worth of relief money from the UUA to be divided among all UU churches who had damage.
All three churches were damaged. All three churches were left far short of what we needed.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just think it's important for me to say that we don't think there's any point in rebuilding this building unless we're doing ministry in the city. That is why we're here. It's why we've always been here. And it is why we'll be here another, God willing, another 178 years into the future. So we work on this building not for us, but so that we can be what we need to be in the city. And that's the important thing to the people of this church.
Ooh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh.